What's up, everybody? Welcome to this video about the Fix the Sales Masterclass. The first thing I got to tell you is I'm recording this video on the Tuesday before the masterclass. And if you were to bet me $100 that the Fix the Sales Masterclass would be outpacing the Fix the Marketing Masterclass that I did last week, I would have thought I would lost that bet. And the reality is, we have more people signed up for the Fix the Sales Masterclass. And as surprised as I am, I really think that there's a big shift in the industry. I think a lot of people are realizing that, hey, I'm getting leads. I am getting leads. I just can't get the leads on the phone, or I can't get them to show up, or I can't close them. And I think it's like starting to become this shift between I can't get any leads to I can't get any customers, right? And that's the biggest thing, right? That the biggest thing about this whole game is we can't cash leads. We can only deposit the money that we get from a customer into our bank account. So the sales conversation is really, really important. And so I'm going to shine the light on what I'm going to be talking about in the masterclass. And at the same time, hopefully get some value from this video. The first thing I think we got to understand is this is the only guarantee in business that is you will lose clients, right? That's really the only guarantee in business is that you're going to lose clients. And at the end of the day, even if you made your gym free, you're still going to lose about 1% of your membership, right? If you got 100 members, you're not going to keep everybody. Someone's going to move, someone's going to get sick, someone's going to have life change, and they're not going to trade at your gym, right? And so our businesses have this built-in layer of attrition, right? We're going to lose some people. Now, for those of you doing a really good job, your attrition is 3 to 5%, right? And that means if you have 100 members, you're losing 3 to 5, every month. That's if you're doing a good job. So even if you have 100 members and you're doing a good job and you lose five, you still got to get five, right? To stay the same. So this whole free lunch thing, it doesn't exist. Like we still, even if we have really good retention and a really good product, we still got to do some work to at least stay the same size. Now, if you want to grow, right? Let's say you're losing five and you want to get, plus five, at the end of each month, which is a great goal. You got to do some work, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about now. A couple things, and I have my notes here, so I'm looking down on what I want to cover. I believe that there's a lot out there on marketing, right? And again, I'm a marketing guy. I talk a lot about marketing. There's tons of marketing agencies and people selling marketing and all of like things like that. But there's not as much on the sales side. There's not as much on people teaching gym owners on how to do the sales. Not none, right? There are some people doing a pretty good job of it. I like to think that we do a pretty good job of teaching people how to sell better. But my friend G.R. Hoff, that has an agency called Gym Membership, he does a really good job of coaching on the sales side as well. But at the end of the day, there's a lot out there to help you get more leads. And there's a promise of all these leads. And what it kind of does is it gives you that hit of dopamine. But the reality, as I said before, it doesn't do what we need to do in terms of putting it into our bank account, which is what we're trying to do, right? You're trying to make some money in this business. So that's really what it's going to be about is this whole masterclass is going to be about how do we get customers that's going to help us make the money we want to make. Now, if we're talking about sales, there's really only a couple things we need to know, right? There's really and we can boil it down to three things. Right? The first thing is, and it's the first metric that I'll go over, but the first metric is what percentage of the leads that you get come in to do the first thing. Now, whether you do consultation, whether you do a trial membership, it doesn't matter, right? I'll use those terms interchangeably, right? But that's the first kind of metric. It's almost like we can put them in buckets, right? That's the first bucket. We got to be able to get that bucket to anywhere from 20 to 30, percent. That means if we have 10 leads, we got to be able to get, 2 to 3 of them to come in for a consultation or trial, right? And there's a lot of moving parts to that. And I'll discuss all this on the masterclass, but there's, how quickly we get to them. There's what we say on the phone. There's the whole process of getting them to show up. I mean, all of these things I'm going to discuss and cover and give you the best practices and the things that are working right now to be able to do it. And then full disclosure, if you don't know who I am, I'm a business coach that does this for gym owners, but at the same time, on the other side of that wall, believe it or not, ready for it, is a gym, and I own it. And there's people that train there and there's staff members that are employed, believe it or not. And so I use that as a lab, right? Looking at this stuff all day. I had a meeting an hour ago with the guy that runs my gym, and we're going over all of these numbers. So I'm doing this with you. I'm doing this along the way, and I'm seeing what's working. I'm seeing what doesn't. Plus, we have, 137, I think at this point, mastermind members where I'm hearing what's going on with them. So there has been a lot of challenges with this bucket. There's been a lot of challenges of they don't answer the phone, and we can't get them on the phone, and they respond to the text and then they disappear. There's a lot of that right now. So I'm going to go over the best practices of what you need to do to be able to take that conversion rate and wherever you are, make it better, right? And am I going to guarantee you that all of a sudden everyone's going to show up? No, that's just not possible. So I think some of this is really going to be about managing your expectations. Like some of you might be doing okay and you don't even realize it because you don't know your numbers. That's an important distinction. Some of you are frustrated with your sales, but you actually might be doing better than you think based on there's some industry, standard numbers. Now there's always unicorns out there, but at the end of the day, I'll shine the light on what numbers there are, what's good, what's not good, and how much can you actually get better. So that's that first bucket is getting the leads to show up for the first time. The second bucket, right, is converting them to a member, right? And this is really where the money is made. This is where you do a consultation. We, on the other side of this wall, is our consultation room. We have a room that's dedicated specifically for that. We sit down one-on-one with every customer for an hour. We don't do trials or free classes or stuff like that. That is just the way we do it. Not saying any of that is wrong. I have plenty of customers that do it that way, but that's just the way we do it. And that's the first step towards someone becoming a member at my gym, right? And so that is a very, very scripted, thought out process, right? And they'll go over the best practices. What do we need to do to get more people to say yes? What do we need to do to get more people to buy? And so we'll go over why they don't buy. We'll go over the common objections that they have in the sales process. We'll go over what you need to say. I talk about in the sales letter of this masterclass is there's a really, really important question you need to ask. All right. I'm not going to give it to you right now. All right. Because I gave it to you in one of my emails. Hopefully you're reading the emails. All right. I gave you the question, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to shine the light on, I'm going to go deep on the actual question that you need to ask. There's one question that trumps all other questions. And we got to ask this one, and you got to know this one, and you got to know it cold. So I'll go over the ins and outs of that question. And I'll tell you this, when I learned this question, we spent about 4 hours at a workshop. I was at a workshop in Philadelphia with a program called the Strategic Coach Program. And we spent 4 hours on this question, and they just unpacked it and unpacked it. So I have a very, very, very deep understanding of this question, and I'm not going to take 4 hours to do it. I'm going to teach it to you in a few minutes and give you the ins and outs of what you need to know. But at the end of the day, to convert more people that come for a consultation or a trial, a lot of it comes down to that process. What happens in that process? What are the things we need to do, the things we need to say, the things we need to do ahead of time to be able to get more people to buy? And truth be told, just like there is a certain percentage of, people you're going to convert from lead coming into consult, there's just around a certain percentage you're going to convert from, consultation to new member, right? So we're not going to get 100%, right? I don't think there's many people out there closing at 100%. And if you are, you need to raise your prices because you don't want to actually do that, right? So we'll talk about the different percentages and the different what should you be shooting for, and some of it is relative. Some of it matters is, are you doing a trial membership? Are you doing an annual contract? Are you doing month to month? I'll go over all that stuff with you. Okay, so that's getting more people to buy in your consultation. And then the third bucket, this is a big one, is price. How much money are you charging? I had a call with another gym owner, prospect, kind of responding to one of my books. And he's like, I got to get more customers. I got to get more customers. And he was telling me what his prices were. And the poor guy was charging so little money. I told him, I was like, brother, I think the worst thing I can teach you is how to get more new customers because you're putting more new customers into a broken price model. And what's going to happen is you're just going to keep putting more customers into this thing. You're going to keep working, and you're just going to burn yourself out because you're not making any money as it is. And we just add more customers from that, and you keep having to work more. it's not going to be a good ending to this. So we got to change some things. For him, he needed to change his model. I'm not going to get into that tomorrow on the masterclass, but he really did need to change his price, right? And so price is such an important piece of a financially successful business. And the thing with price is it gets challenging, right? Because there's what involved? There's emotions. There's like, oh, how much am I charging? And like, are they going to say no? And there's all kinds of stuff like that that happens. And I'm going to teach you how to get past some of that. So I will, I'm not going to guarantee you this magic pill that you're all of a sudden get past all of it. Some of it will be how you grow as a person, right? Some of it will be how you develop yourself and the things your beliefs about yourself and your business and your product and your staff. And some of that, sometimes that does take time, being honest with you. But I'm going to kind of point you in the right direction to do that. But so I will talk about how to select your price, right? So how much you should be charging and how to get that. I'll talk about how to present price, which I think is a really, really important piece. I think a lot of people screw this up. Think Cheesecake Factory, right? You go to the Cheesecake Factory and you have all these items to choose from, and there's so many things, and you're like, I don't want to do it. I don't know if I want anything. Just like send me to the bar and I'll just drink because I can't decide what I want to eat. And there's a lot of gyms that are like that. So I'll teach you how to simplify your price sheet, how you should be actually presenting your prices. And finally, I will talk about the king and the king of all kings to make more money, and that is how to raise your price on current members. Okay. And a lot of people are very fearful of this. A lot of people don't want to do it. Other people have said consultants have told them to promise that they will never ever raise their rates, which is terrible advice. And I'm just going to tell you that I personally, so full circle. So I personally, in October of 2025, raised my prices at my gym about by $49 a month. We run a small group training gym. We were charging about $400 a month for twice a week. We raised it to $449. The staff was very nervous. They were very scared. I was like, hey, you guys deliver a great product. We have great retention. We have great close rate. We have earned this price raise. And we did. And it was massively successful. So I'll teach you how to do that. I'll teach you what to say. I'll teach you how to present it to your customers. It's a really, really important piece. That alone, and just learning the skills that you need to learn to be able to raise price and do it in a way that you can keep maybe not 100%, but the majority of your members. And I'll show you some math on how to get around it. And I will show, I have a cool exercise that I teach in this one that's called price raise anxiety melter, right? How to melt anxiety about raising your prices with your members. So excited about that one. So we got presenting price, we got selecting price, we got raising price. And the last piece I'll talk about is, hey, we got these members, right? Because we're talking about sales. Sales is about getting new customers, right? We want to make sales. We'll talk about how to make more sales from the customers you've got, right? And so specifically, I will talk about referrals because I believe that's the lowest hanging fruit and the biggest value. If you can get one customer and turn one customer into two customers, the lifetime value of that customer just doubled, right? And so that's a real, and I do think there's value in selling supplements and, offering other things 100%. I won't be covering that on the masterclass. I'll probably do that at a later date. But like the best thing that I can help you do to to make more money from your current customers is how to generate referrals. It's how to get them to generate referrals and how also to get them to train with you more often. That's a big piece, right? To how to get them to go from twice a week to three times a week. Like how many people do you have coming twice a week? Well, why aren't they coming three? So I'll show you a strategy on how to get them from two times a week to three times a week, which could make some big moves in your business just on that alone. Okay, so those are the big needle movers that I'm gonna talk about. I will also talk about. Sorry, this thing is like shaking. I will also talk about the sales mindset. Okay, how to think about sales because a lot of times people think like, oh, sales is a dirty word. I don't want to feel sleazy. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want people to think I'm greedy. And there's a lot of that in the gym industry because you know what? We're nice people, right? We're good people, and we got into this industry. We're going to change lives and help people. And I did too. Like that's like I fell in love when I was a personal trainer in San Diego. I fell in love with helping people. I fell in love with it. I was just like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. But I realized is that when I'm more financially successful, I can help more people. And when I'm not financially successful, I help less people. Right. And so it's kind of like you need to get yourself in a good spot. If you get yourself in a good spot, you're going to be able to lean into your staff better. You're going to be able to help more people. You're going to be able to like give money to charity, right? Like some of the best money that I spend from being successful in business is like the money I give to my church. It's like I'm so grateful to be able to have that opportunity to be able to do that every month. And that's why we want to be able to make money. So the first mindset is all about you. But the second mindset, this is really, really important, very important to understand, is what's going on in the mind of the prospect. Really important. What is going on through their mind when they're buying, and what's going on through their mind when they're all of a sudden hearing stuff, they're hearing stuff, and they're like, oh, I need to talk to my spouse. I'm not sure if I can afford it. I don't think I have the time. I'm going to tell you what's going on in their minds. And I'm going to tell you what you need to do before those thoughts start to go into their minds. I'm going to tell you what you need to do beforehand to help reduce it. Now, will it go to zero? No, it will not. But can it reduce the number of times someone's like, I need to think about it. I need to talk to my spouse? Yes, it can. Okay. So that's the sales mindset. And a lot of this is from my book. Like, so I wrote this book, The Ultimate Guide to Sales for Your Gym, I think pre-COVID. This was like 2019 or even 2018, is when I wrote this book. There are some things in this book that will never ever end, right? In terms of it, it's totally time tested. It's not these like, oh, that only worked back in 2019 or that was before COVID. No, some of the principles inside this book they're just basic sales principles that will never ever go away. So a lot of the things I will be pulling is from this book that I wrote, similarly to the masterclass that I did for the marketing one. A lot of the principles that I taught were based in from my book, that orange one right there. That's it right there. See that? That's the orange one. There we go. Thumbs up. So that's it. That's the sales masterclass. I believe if you're listening to this on a podcast, click the link in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, go click the link somewhere. I guess it's below the video. I don't know. You can always go back to one of the emails. It's a free webinar. We're doing it on Thursday, April 23rd, and it's at noon Eastern. Thursday, April 23rd at noon Eastern. Super excited for it. It's going to be a great time. Full disclosure, I am running this like a masterclass. So it's not a webinar. I don't have PowerPoint slides. So I'm just letting you guys know I don't have PowerPoint slides. I will be working up from a document that I'll be teaching from, but it's not a webinar. I'm not going to have this big sales pitch of some course or a product at the end of the webinar. It's not what I'm going to do. I've done that stuff before, right? I've taught webinars before and everything like that. That's just not what I'm doing on this one. And there will be a bonus. Like if you show up, okay, there will be a bonus. And the bonus will be related to a lot of the stuff that we talk about. Hint, hint, the bonus may have something to do with price. I'm just giving you a hint, hint, and it's a good one. You're going to want to show up live, but the only way to get the bonus is if you show up live on the webinar, and we'll give you that as well. And what else am I missing? I think that's it. So hopefully you come. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, so we got a couple more days. Again, I'm still shocked at the amount of people that have already registered for this event. It just makes me believe that people are struggling with this sales process. And I believe a lot of the stuff you're going to learn is going to help clean some stuff up. Now, I'll tell you this. If you just learn one thing that can improve your close rate by, let's call it 10%, right? Let's say you learn one thing that improves your close rate by 10%. And that means that, let's say you're at 50% before and you get it to 60%. Okay. And so every month, let's say you're sitting down with 10 people. Before you were closing 5, now you're closing 6. Okay. That is 6. That's one a month, one more a month. That's 12 over the course of the entire year. If you take 12 and you multiply it by your lifetime customer value, which I will tell you for us is around $10,000, right? That's what our lifetime customer value is at GFP, around $10,000. And I will talk about that too. I'll tell you how to get lifetime customer value on the masterclass. I think it's important to have your mind set around what are we trying to sell here? Are we selling a $200 membership, or are you selling a $10,000 lifetime value? And you tend to approach those two numbers very differently. Like how are you going to approach $200 versus how are you going to approach 10,000? Now, the money to them is 200. The money to you is 10,000 if it's the lifetime, if that is your lifetime value, right? And so I could take this lifetime value of $10,000. I got 12 new customers. That's $120,000, right? I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's $120,000 more from a 10%. You can get a 10% increase by just doing one little thing a little bit better, asking one question, overcoming one objection. There's just sometimes we got to move the needle a little bit. I don't think this masterclass is going to help you go from a 30% close rate to a 97% close rate. I'm not that good, right? I'm not that good of a sales coach. But if I can improve your close rate by 10%, by taking one little thing that we do, and you have a strong lifetime value like we do here, and let's say it's half as good, right? Let's say your lifetime value is only $5,000. Well, that's an extra $60,000 that you got from a free masterclass by doing one little thing a little bit better. So that's what we're after. So that's my pitch. Hopefully you learn. I try to do some teaching during my commercials for these master classes, but hopefully you pick something up, but hopefully really you come to the master class. It's completely free. There's nothing that I'm going to sell you at the end, and I'm super excited for it. I get really jazzed for these. I get energized when I do these master classes. The last one we had I mean an incredible amount of people that registered for it showed up. There was great energy, there was great questions. It was just a really feel good thing, and I'm thinking this one's going to be just as good, if not better. So hopefully join us again. If you're listening to this on podcast, the link is in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sorry you had to stare at my ugly face the entire time, but you can click, I think it's the link in the description on YouTube or wherever it is. I'm not really even sure anymore. You click that link and you can register for free, and I will see you on the inside. Peace.